Former President of Pakistan, Pervez Musharraf, passed away at the age of 79 in Dubai. The former military ruler passed away after a prolonged illness. He was undergoing treatment at American Hospital in Dubai. He was diagnosed with life-threatening disease in 2018 in the UAE. General Musharraf had left for Dubai in March 2016 for medical treatment and did not return to Pakistan. He was declared a fugitive in the assassination case of former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto and the Red Mosque cleric killing case too. Musharraf, who ruled Pakistan from 1999 to 2008, as you already know, was charged with high treason and given a death sentence in 2019 for suspending the constitution. Remember, Musharraf escalated violence in Kashmir. India ended up losing more soldiers in the counter-insurgency in the years after the conflict than it did in the war itself. After the terrorist attack on the Parliament House in 2001, the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee threatened military retaliation.
Musharraf was a dynamic personality and a man of stature. I'm sure he will be remembered as a man of stature both inside Pakistan and also internationally. And also, by the way, he's remembered inside Pakistan as someone who tried to actually make peace with India. And I fully understand that there will be many different analyses and references to Kargil and many other things. But the fact of the matter is, and I was just listening to the gentleman speaking just before me, and I respect his opinion, but the fact of the matter is, as someone who's in Islamabad and as someone who meets and moves around in the think tank circles of Pakistan with retired foreign service and military officers, General Pervez Musharraf is often referred to as someone actually who tried to change Pakistani policy and tried to bring the people of Pakistan and India closer.
I worked with Pervez Musharraf very closely. I was his spokesperson. I can tell you he was a very proud Pakistani. He was a very proud soldier, and he was the man who led Pakistan in a very difficult times. Hailing from Delhi, his parents migrated from Delhi to Pakistan. And they struggled to become, and he became the chief of army staff from a very common family. So he always took proud of his middle class values, and his tenure was much more democratic than we have today in Pakistan. His tenure was much more democratic than what we had from 97 to 99 Nawaz Sharif era in Pakistan. He never incarcerated his opponents for having different opinion, and despite that, his family gone through the rigors of migration. He always wanted a good relationship with India, and Vajpayee and Musharraf was very close to resolve Kashmir, and unfortunately the establishment has actually not let that happen. Otherwise, Pakistan-India history would have been different today.
My colleague Shiv Arur spoke to India Today's Group Editorial Director Raj Chingappa about Pakistan dictator, Kargil war villain Pervez Musharraf. Listen in.
Your views first, very quickly on the death of Pervez Musharraf today. How do you remember him? You've interviewed him, you've met him, you've covered many of the, that entire phase when he was both the military and military leader and president of Pakistan. Your views today, sir.
Well, Shiv, I think you summed it up very well in what you said a little earlier. And, the interesting thing about President Musharraf or Pervez Musharraf or General Musharraf, however you would like to call him, is that there is even towards the end, he had come to the India Today conclave. I've met him first when, just before Agra, he gave me an interview for India Today magazine, just before he came to meet Atal Bihari Vajpayee in this very daring move to try and see whether peace could be brought between the two countries, having been the man of war, as you said earlier. Just in 1999, betrayed his own prime minister, because that's what Mr. Nawaz Sharif, who was then prime minister, told me in an interview, that he did not know that General Musharraf was planning Kargil and had kept him in the dark. Of course, that's a debatable question on that matter. But from that, in this kind of commando fashion that he does, is to try and brazen his way into India. And he spoke to me at that time with a great deal of confidence. And I remember that when we began the interview, I said, he's from the artillery. So I said, my dad was also from the Indian Army. in the artillery, and I said, I'm a son of a gunner. And he had a huge laugh, and we chatted more amicably after that, because there was a lot of hostility at the time that I had gone across to Pakistan to interview him. And subsequently as well, President Musharraf stayed in the news even as dictator of Pakistan for almost 7 years that was there. There was, he had two facets to him. One was this kind of tactical, he was, a great tactical tactician, if you would like to call it, but very poor at strategic stuff. So, in the initial part of Kargil, and you read his book also that he brought out subsequently, he makes these very tall claims about what he did and how he was stopped by Nawaz Sharif from actually continuing with the war. But the truth was they had lost the war by then. Now, these things he doesn't accept at all, right through his entire years, even when it comes to the conclave, that he was on the back foot, that the things that he did in Kargil, the kind of stuff that he covered up in terms of what happened with Osama bin Laden and Afghanistan, all these issues were something that he would not admit. He would continue to maintain, and that's the facet of this personality. He on one side waged war with India, and in the next 7 years spent a lot of time trying to build bridges with India and bring peace with India.